Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the True Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, "My wife lost a lot of weight to gain the attention of her work crush. How do I move forward? After we had our kids, my wife gained a lot of weight, about 80 pounds. Honestly, I was fine with it. I thought she was still hot, and my desire for intimacy never waned. For a while, she was fine with her weight too. Fast forward 5 years, and all of a sudden, my wife gets really into fitness and nutrition. She buys a Peloton, goes on a strict diet, and loses all the weight, and then some. She looks like she did when I met her around 20. She looks great, but as I said, I thought she looked great. Heavy too. Then one day last week, she came home from work and I could tell something was really bothering her. I asked what was wrong, but she was just evasive and distant. This lasted a few days before she finally broke. She told me that the reason she was so determined to lose weight was that she wanted attention from a guy at work she has a crush on. She said that all the women have a crush on this guy and that she just wanted his attention. Well, apparently she got too much of it on the day she came home, so upset. He had apparently been flirting with my wife for a few weeks, and that day he asked her if she wanted to have dinner with him after work at a restaurant that just so happens to be in a hotel. He heavily implied that they could get a room afterward or even skip the restaurant and just get room service. She told me that up to this point it was all just a fantasy in her head, but now it was real and she snapped out of it. She realized that she had gone way too far. She declined his invitation, of course, and felt she needed to confess what she had done to me. I was and still am crushed. First, I am actually upset that she told me. I know this is some form of cheating, but I didn't suspect anything. She could have just kept this to herself and not passed her burden onto me. So the thought comes to mind that maybe she wants me to dump her so she can be with this guy, and that's why she is telling me. So I asked her that, and she broke down crying. That's not what she wants. She says she loves me and just wanted to be honest with me and apologize. Nothing physical happened, I'm pretty sure of it. I can track her phone and also have free access to it. She never hides it and leaves it everywhere. That phone never leaves work with her. I suppose she could be cheating on her lunch break and leave the phone, but I just don't think she would leave the phone and not be available for the kids. So I don't think I want a divorce. I love her and we have kids. But it's just eating at me that she did all that work to be attractive for another man. I don't know where to go from here or even what to ask of her. I just need some advice." In an update made 8 days later, OP said the following: "I want to thank everyone for commenting on my original post. I got some good advice, but above all, I just needed to vent, so thanks for listening. I talked more with my wife after my first post in an attempt to understand why she did what she did. From what she tells me, every woman in the office swoons over this guy. They all flirted with him, my wife included, and he never flirted back. A few of the single women have basically thrown themselves at him, but still got nothing. My wife thought to herself that when she was younger and thinner, she could and did have guys who looked like him chase after her. So she wanted to prove to herself that she could still get the attention of a hot young guy if she wanted to. To answer a common question, yes, she was flirting with him heavily, but she says that he knew she was married, and since she didn't plan on ever being alone with him, it was harmless. Now that I think about it, she was in a great mood in the few weeks prior to her breaking down. She was all over me as well. We hadn't had that much sex in years. She tells me that it wasn't so much the guy at work heating her up, but how his attention made her feel. Again, I have always given her plenty of attention. Why that wasn't enough to make her feel good about herself, I don't know. And that's really what hurts me most. What I thought of her didn't matter. She says what I thought did matter, but she asked me, if I walked past you on the street at my heaviest, would you turn and look? I don't do that with anyone, but I would still have found her attractive. I guess I see the point she is making. When she was younger, she got a lot of head turns and got used to that. She liked the attention, and when that all went away, it made her depressed. In the end, I think we will be okay. I'll get over this, but as of now, I'm not letting her know that. I told her she needs to go to therapy and work on why she needs this external validation from people she doesn't care about. She agreed to do that. Like I said in my original post, I don't think she did anything physical with him. We have Life 360 and I see where she goes. She goes straight from home to the office and back every day. She either brings lunch or gets something delivered. I just don't think anything happened. I acted cold toward her for a few days. It may have been a little cruel, but I wanted her to sweat a little and think I was questioning the relationship. Selfishly, I wanted to see her panic and try to win me back. I felt I needed to see that she cares what I think of her. She was a mess, bordering on desperate. She cried a lot, which eventually broke me. I love her and couldn't stand to see her sad. So in short, she is going to go to therapy and we will do couples counseling down the road. Thanks for all the advice, everyone. In the comments, user Boscaroni said, a lot of marriages break down when one of the partners no longer needs or wants validation from their mate. The problem is that the person still needs the validation, so they start looking for it elsewhere and the marriage naturally breaks down. In response, user Jesse Plays Sims said, but the problem here is she was getting validation from the hubby and it wasn't enough for her. She still needed other men. Another user named Surreal Goblin said, I guess it turns out raising people to believe that their worth comes from being sexually desirable to men doesn't promote behaviors that facilitate genuine connection. Who would have guessed? This next post was made in the relationship advice subreddit by a throwaway account. The post is titled, My Phil led a smear campaign against me and came between me and my wife. My wife, 29F, and I aren't in a good place. It's not a fun feeling. I feel context is important here. We're college sweethearts, married for 6 years, and have a daughter, 4F. Our constant hurdle is family. It feels like we always have to validate our relationship. I always thought my wife was worth it though. I haven't felt for anyone else the way I do about her. My wife's family is very old school. They're conservative in their beliefs and values. My father-in-law is treated as the captain and looked to as the head of the family. My relationship with him was never smooth, not for my lack of trying. His tolerance of me only came after my daughter was born. I don't believe he's ever thought I was good enough for his daughter. I wasn't his first choice or even in his top 5. I don't share their background of gated communities and fancy schools. My father-in-law always had some backhanded remark about my upbringing. During a family gathering at my in-laws' house last Christmas, my father-in-law's iPad went missing. He blew a fuse and accused me of stealing it. His reasoning was that there was a period of time when I was alone in the house. I was never actually alone in the house. I was helping my mother-in-law in the kitchen because people were kicking back their feet while she was slaving away for a big family. There was no reasoning with him. He called the police and told the officers that a real man would own up when caught, but that I was never taught to be a man. Another backhanded remark. I was raised in a household of women. My father-in-law once expressed that only a man can raise a boy into a man. I spoke up for myself during his ranting. The whole situation was humiliating, but I had nothing to hide. The officers had to de-escalate the situation and stood by until everyone went their separate ways. My father-in-law ran a smear campaign on social media accusing me of theft and saying that I wasn't family. Some truly vicious things were said. It impacted my life. I lost a job opportunity because his post came up during the vetting process. The company was rebranding and didn't want any associated drama. Essentially, I was shunned by the family. There were those who didn't agree with my father-in-law, but they wanted to stay out of it. No one wanted to cross him. I was no longer welcome on my in-laws' property until I confessed and apologized. My wife still attended everything without me and took our daughter with her, even on New Year's Eve. I wanted to spend it with her and our daughter, but she chose to appease her dad and keep tradition. During all of my father-in-law's accusations, the smear campaign, and the shunning, my wife didn't support me in any way. She bowed to her dad and would tell me to just apologize. She said I was being stubborn by refusing. It wasn't about apologizing. My father-in-law wanted me to beg. I'm not a prideful person, but I'm not getting on my knees and pleading for forgiveness for something I didn't do. My wife said she was only trying to keep the peace instead of being right. When my father-in-law once badmouthed me in front of our daughter, my wife never spoke up. She claimed she didn't hear him. I don't believe she would have done anything regardless. Our daughter kept me afloat. I put my foot down on her attending gatherings after the bad-mouthing. My wife accused me of escalating the situation by withholding our daughter. I felt my father-in-law was trying to influence my child against me. My decision was about setting boundaries. I wasn't asking my wife to cut off her dad. I know how important family is to her, but we're married. We have a child. We made vows. I only wanted her to be there for me as my partner and best friend. She abandoned me. I had more support from my mother-in-law and sister-in-law than I ever did from her. We fought a lot. Our arguments escalated to a new level. I would hold everything in and then we would blow up. My wife said she dealt with her dad her whole life and had learned that sometimes it was better to yield. About a month ago, my name was cleared. My sister-in-law found the iPad in her son's room. He confessed to taking it. He had been afraid to say anything after my father-in-law's reaction to me. My father-in-law has never apologized or publicly recanted. He acts like nothing happened and the rest of the family has followed suit. He had my mother-in-law relay that I was welcome at their home again. Others began inviting me to functions. I have declined these invitations for both myself and my daughter. I'm not holding a grudge or using my daughter as punishment. I saw clearly who my father-in-law was. I don't want any involvement with him unless necessary, nor is my daughter allowed to have unsupervised visits with him. I don't want her exposed to that ugliness. The situation remains a sore spot in our marriage. My wife won't talk about it. If I try, she says I'm throwing the past in her face. I'm just trying to open up to her about how everything still affects me. She feels I'm not working toward keeping the peace. But my father-in-law falsely accused me of theft, led a smear campaign, badmouthed me in front of our daughter, and was enabled by some family members. This is me keeping the peace. I don't know if this post is the right call. My wife wouldn't approve, but there's no talking to her about this in any real way. I'm lost. We've never been so disconnected. I'm in love with her. I wouldn't have stayed if I wasn't. I want to work on our marriage and do right by our daughter. I don't regret my choice regarding my father-in-law, but I am questioning if I'm making things worse. I feel alone. I need a fresh perspective. How do I move forward as healthily as possible for my marriage when I don't know where to step? About a week later, OP provided an update. I want to thank everyone for the support. I appreciate it. The original post was the first time I put everything out there and didn't feel dismissed. The situation with my father-in-law was extensive and largely unaddressed by my wife. It occurred to me that not being able to open up to her, I didn't know how to communicate with her anymore. The feedback I received was a real eye-opener. My issue isn't isolated to my father-in-law. This isn't solely a spat with in-laws. It's an issue involving my wife. Things with my father-in-law are what they are. I'm not seeking a deeper connection with him. We're in-laws. Nothing more, nothing less. And he made it abundantly clear in his smear campaign that I wasn't family, but a hurdle the family needed to overcome. My concern is my wife and our daughter. They're my family and my focus. That said, I realize I can't make my wife do anything. I can't make her communicate with me. I can't make her instill boundaries with her dad. I only have a say for myself and our daughter. I know something needs to change. Our marriage can't be sustained this way. It's not good for anyone, especially our daughter. After getting my feelings out, I felt more resolved about what I needed to do. I told my wife about the original post. She has seen it and some of the comments. She wasn't thrilled, but to her credit, she didn't automatically shut me down like usual. She was open to hearing what I had to say. I don't know if ultimatum is the right term because I wasn't trying to force her to choose anything. I'm just trying to implement boundaries for our daughter and our marriage. I told her that things needed to change because our marriage couldn't survive like this. No one should feel alone or abandoned in their marriage. The options were either couples therapy or separation. She didn't take to separation well. She seemed repulsed by it. She said she knew we weren't in a good place, but she didn't realize that was where I was at. She said we made vows and that our bond is supposed to withstand anything. She feels her dad shouldn't take away from what we have. I told her I wasn't taking separation lightly. Our vows do mean something, but whether she admits it or not, she checked out on our vows in favor of her dad. It wasn't about keeping the peace, it was about me drowning while she was on her dad's boat and never tossed me a line. Our issues are bigger than just her dad. Our current way isn't working. My wife chose therapy. We found a therapist and it's officially scheduled. I want to be hopeful, but that's not something I've let myself feel for a bit now. I don't believe she was only telling me what she thought I wanted to hear. I saw the reality of it hit her when separation was put on the table. I asked her if marriage counseling was something she really wanted. I'm not talking about the sometimes it's better to yield thing she said about her dad or about keeping the peace. I was asking what she genuinely wanted. She said she did and that she doesn't want to lose our relationship or our family. Some have questioned why I'd want to try working on my marriage. It's not about staying for our daughter. I want to make a real attempt for my family and see if things can be mended. I know there's more to my wife than just her father-in-law. I fell in love with her because of who she was as a person. When we met and got to know each other, it was away from her dad. I saw how caring she was for others, even if she didn't agree with their point of view, how decent she was, and how she had a weight off her shoulders with distance from her dad's shadow. My wife is the youngest of her siblings, and I would say my in-laws hold on to her more tightly. I didn't know how bad things were until I actually dealt with my father-in-law. It's why she chose a long-distance school and didn't go home on breaks often. Her work moved us closer to home, and she was back into the fold fully. My father-in-law's smear campaign was our first major obstacle following that. I'm in love with my wife, but I'm not speaking out of blind love. Whether we're together or not, I want the best for her. Part of my hope for marriage counseling is that she regains sight of herself separate from her dad and sees that setting boundaries for herself isn't crossing a line. Maybe we can recover together and come out better for it. I know we got married a little young. Trust me, we'd heard our fair share from the skeptics, but I was always sure of my wife. Marriage wasn't something I took lightly. I didn't expect there to be nothing but clear skies. But we should want more from each other. Being there for each other and emotional intimacy are the bare minimum. We should be a team. Our family is the core, before any other relationship. To me, our vows mean consciously choosing and committing to each other, even when it's hard. I don't know what marriage counseling will bring. It'll be my first experience with therapy. All I can do is take everything one step at a time and reaffirm boundaries for myself and my daughter. I'm not withholding my daughter as punishment or holding grudges. I don't even want an apology from my father-in-law because I know it will be empty. I'm just done giving him any more power. I'm protecting my daughter too. To those who haven't experienced something like this, I hope you never will. And for those in a similar struggle, I hope for nothing but the best for you. You're not alone. Thank you for showing me that I'm not either. In the comments, user Sweetie ILY said she really told him to say sorry like it was a broken plate, not a whole smear campaign. Another user named Bina said the father-in-law literally took food out of his child and grandchild's mouths, and no one saw that what he was doing was wrong, like it's an iPad. Just get a new one at that point, or better yet, track it and make it ring so you can figure out where it was. Another comment made was by a user named Baltinerdist. It said, every time I read one of these stories, I have to remind myself that I don't understand the behavior because I would never act that way. I would never treat anyone like this, not the way the wife is treating her husband, nor the way the father-in-law is treating his family. I wouldn't do any of it. So I cannot fathom why the father-in-law has invested so much time and energy into being a complete and total asshole. I cannot fathom how, in his mind, it makes his life any better. This final post was made in the AITA subreddit by a user named I'm Trying My Best. The post is titled, I let my son call my best friend dad. My relationship with my wife Sam has been rocky since our son Oliver was born 2 years ago. She got pregnant just a few months after we got married, and things were fine up until Oliver's delivery. I assume it was postpartum depression. Sam never sought out a specific diagnosis, but after he was born, it was like she just couldn't care less about our child. We hadn't planned to have children so early into our marriage, and it was scary, but I can't describe to you the all-encompassing love that comes with being a parent. The fear was worth it for me. It still is and always will be, throughout Oliver's life, but especially that first year, I was essentially acting as a single parent. The only help I had, and I don't mean for that to sound diminishing because this man is a godsend, was my best friend Matt. The plan was for Oliver to be breastfed, but my wife had no interest in it after he was born. I was the one changing diapers and mixing up formula for bottles, and being in the house we shared felt so oppressive. It was like the joys of bonding with my son were being sucked out of me because of the energy there, so I would take Oliver to Matt's. I don't want to ramble on for too long, but there have been exactly 0 times in life where Matt hasn't shown up for me. I've known him since I was 19 and can safely say that even after all that time, this is the most wonderful thing he's given me. I could sleep soundly knowing my baby would be taken care of. I had a place of refuge. He is so good with Oliver and is my shoulder to cry on. I don't think I'll ever be able to repay him, but I'm definitely trying every single day. Things with my wife have kind of started to look up, but recent events have sent us into a huge downward spiral. Oliver was having some speech delays, but he's been really picking things up as his 3rd birthday nears. He's babbled dada towards Matt and me for a while now, but daddy has since been added to his vocabulary, and that is used to refer to us both. I have never corrected him. I checked in with Matt to make sure he was fine, and he said he was honored to be bestowed with such a title. Sam got to hear this recently when I was on FaceTime with Matt, and she basically went ballistic. As much as I hate to admit it, I did say he was more of a parent than she had been, which, while true, is hurtful. I need outside opinions on this. About a week later, OP provided an update. I never thought I'd be back with an update this soon, or that this would be the update. I came home Thursday with a plan to talk to my wife. I texted her in advance, so I was able to jump right in when I arrived. As suggested to me in the comments of the original post, I was vulnerable. I told her I was feeling exhausted and worn down. I said frustration had built up with her being so uninvolved. I said I wanted to see real major change in the way she interacts with Oliver within the next 2 months, or an ultimatum of her getting help or divorce would be given. I also made it clear that if she wanted to get help now and not wait those 2 months, that was also acceptable. I would assist her however she wanted, but I wanted to see some initiative being taken for our child. At first, I was met with anger. Eventually, we were able to have a genuine conversation where she admitted that she didn't feel maternal at all. She felt I had pushed her too hard to have Oliver when she got pregnant, and she often wonders what our life would be like if she had made a different choice. Obviously, this was all hard for me to hear. Resentment was building up on both sides, but did it have to build for nearly 3 years? I can't help but feel like it was mostly her responsibility to bring up this conversation. My frustration was over her treatment of our son. Her frustration was over us having a son at all. I can't even fathom a world without Oliver in it, while she was pondering what our life would look like if he never existed. It's been a few days since the conversation, and I'm still feeling a lot. I feel sad for her. I'm very angry for my son and me that the last 3 years could have looked different and saved us from so much pain, exhaustion, and negative emotion. It doesn't feel fair. She and I are going to start the divorce process soon. I'm hoping that it will remain civil. I called my parents to update them on the situation. They've been unconditionally supportive of me and were ready to jump into action to help. They will financially support us for the time being and offered us a place to stay. Matt and I discussed it, and we don't think that's a viable option. Oliver is already going through a big life change, so taking him out of state to a house he's unfamiliar with would be harmful. It would also complicate things during the divorce. We're moving in with Matt. On top of all the practical reasons why it makes sense, Matt expressed that he would hate for us to be so far from him and that anywhere he is would always be a home for Oliver and me. We still have a lot of things to pack, but we've been here since that conversation. Oliver was already used to life here, so the transition has been smooth. I have a lot of emotions to work through and plan on starting therapy soon. Edit. The mentions of coercion and force are ridiculous. Sam has never said outright that she didn't want a child. In fact, we had conversations prior to marriage about starting a family together. It was just never planned that it would happen so early into our marriage. She was scared about having him so early, and I did my best to assuage those fears by reassuring her, but always giving her the option for an out should she want it. There was never an expectation placed upon her that she needed to have the baby. After about a month, OP gave us another update. My son has been raised by me and my best friend, who is now my partner since he was a tiny infant. For all intents and purposes, my partner is his dad, despite them not being blood related. Some days, though, I would swear they are. They obviously don't share any physical features, but the mannerisms my son has picked up from my partner always make my heart clench when I notice them. They have the same laugh. They both chew on their bottom lip when they're thinking hard about something or pretending to be thinking hard when we're playing. They both have a very specific one leg in, one leg out position they assume under blankets when we have movie nights. Now that he's gotten older, I see my partner in my son's little facial expressions all the time. My partner's mom even commented on it in a private moment between her and me. Prior to that, it was something I had kept to myself, thinking I was the only one who noticed. It might not be noticeable to strangers, but those closest to us see their similarities, and that's enough for me. It was definitely an I'm so lucky moment for me. In the comments, a user Untactfully Honest said, "That's how it is with my husband and my oldest daughter. He came into her life at age 3 and legally adopted her when she was 9. She's now 25. One moment will forever live in my memory. We were on our way somewhere talking about one of her mannerisms. I made a comment like, I wonder where she got that from. He immediately responded, me, who else? I looked at him and said, you're not blood related, remember? His response will always and forever show just how much he loves this child. Oh yeah, I always forget. I hit the jackpot with him. They're 2 peas in a pod. Even people who don't know that she's not blood related have mentioned how much she looks like him. We just agree and smile." Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.